In an op-ed published on August 25th in the Los Angeles Times, Max Kennedy, the son of Robert F. Kennedy, expressed his heartbreak and dismay over his brother RFK Jr.'s endorsement of Donald Trump. While Max's arguments are steeped in emotion and nostalgia, it's important to dissect what's really going on here. This isn't just about political endorsements. It's about the unraveling of a legacy and the desperation of a man who's been cast aside by the very party he's loved his whole life. Max Kennedy, the ninth child of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Kennedy, is no stranger to the world of politics. Coming from a family deeply ingrained in American political history, Max followed in his father's footsteps, pursuing a career in law and public service. The Kennedys, after all, are known for their staunch commitment to democratic values, and Max has made it clear that he remains loyal to the ideals that his father, Robert F. Kennedy, championed. This family legacy is what makes Max's recent criticism of his brother RFK Jr. particularly sharp. In his op-ed, Max Kennedy laments, "Trump was exactly the kind of arrogant, entitled bully my father used to prosecute," positioning himself as the guardian of the family's political ideals. Max goes on to argue that RFK Jr.'s endorsement of Trump is the opposite of what my father admired, unselfish spirit that exists in the United States of America. The Kennedy family's reaction to RFK Jr.'s political pivot is telling. The Kennedys are so deeply ingrained in the machinery of corporate politics, specifically the Democratic wing, that they're willing to throw their own family member under the bus if he dares to go against the machine. It's not as if RFK Jr. didn't try to stay in the fold. He practically went on his knees begging Kamala for a position in her administration. But when the Democratic machine said no, the Kennedy family chose their true allegiance, not to RFK Jr., but to the political cabal that has defined their legacy. Max Kennedy makes one valid point when he criticizes RFK Jr.'s environmental hypocrisy. He writes, "It feels especially hypocritical that Bobby, a genuine environmentalist, has thrown in with the most anti-environmental president in our history who promises to drill, baby, drill if elected." This is surreal to hear, especially coming from Trump, who built his brand on rejecting stale Republican talking points. Yet here he is, parroting a line that would make even ex-RNC chair Michael Steele cringe. But Max is right to question how RFK Jr. can reconcile his environmentalist stance. RFK Jr. hasn't answered that, and it's a glaring contradiction that undermines any credibility he might have left. Then Max Kennedy trots out the January 6th narrative saying, Donald Trump has contempt for the law as evidenced by his attempts to overthrow the 2020 election and his ongoing legal struggles. Let's get something straight. January 6th was a setup. It was entrapment, pure and simple. The real criminals are the ones who orchestrated it, not the protesters who were caught up in the moment. But RFK Jr. shows his true colors as a centrist, someone who tries to play both sides without taking a firm stance. He calls January 6th not a true insurrection, which is a perfect example of his wishy-washy politics. Does he think it was an insurrection or not? RFK Jr. wants to hedge his bets, to keep one foot in both camps without committing to either. That's not leadership, that's cowardice. Max Kennedy's closing plea for Americans to ignore Bobby and support Vice President Kamala Harris and the Democratic platform is as hollow as it is predictable. Sure, I'll be ignoring RFK Jr., but not for the reasons Max gives. RFK Jr. wrote The Real Anthony Fauci, exposing the deep corruption within our government's handling of the health crisis. Now, he's thrown in with Trump, the man who supported Fauci's actions. It's a betrayal of everything RFK Jr. once stood for. This whole saga is a testament to the hypocrisy and corruption within both parties. The Kennedys, Trump, RFK Jr., they're all playing a game, and it's the American people who are left to pick up the pieces. But if you're tired of the same old corporate politics, check out my YouTube channel, Middle MAGA, where we dive deep into the issues that really matter. So yes, I'll ignore RFK Jr., but I'm not supporting Kamala Harris either. The real battle isn't between these political figures, it's between the establishment and the truth. And if you're looking for the truth, you're not gonna find it in the mainstream narrative. You'll find it in places where people aren't afraid to speak out, to challenge the lies, and to take on the power grabs head on.
Middle MAGA.